Welcome back to the Old Charles today. We're diving deep into a coin that almost every American has probably held at some point. A coin that sits in jars, drawers, and maybe even your car's cup holder right now. We're talking about the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar. On the surface, it's just a 50-cent piece. But is it? Is the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar a simple piece of pocket change? Or could the one in your possession be a hidden treasure? In this epic deep dive, we're going to explore its history, its different mint marks, the fascinating and incredibly valuable era varieties, and of course, answer the million-dollar question. What is the true 1974 Kennedy half-dollar value? Stick around, because what you learn might just have you running to check your coin collection. To understand the 1974, we have to take a quick trip back in time. The Kennedy half-dollar was born out of tragedy. Just weeks after President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963, the U.S. Mint rushed to create a new design to honor him, replacing the Benjamin Franklin half-dollar. The first Kennedy halves were minted in 1964, and they were a massive public sensation. But there was a catch. Those 1964 coins were minted in 90% silver. As the price of silver rose, people began hoarding them for their precious metal content. By 1965, the mint had to change the composition. From 1965 to 1970, the coins were made with a clad composition, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This is the same composition we have today. So, where does our 1974 coin fit in? By 1974, the Kennedy half was no longer a new novelty. It was a workhorse of American currency, but its circulation was starting to wane. People used them less in everyday transactions, but the mint was still producing them in the hundreds of millions. This is a crucial point for understanding its value. Not all 1974 halves are created equal. They were minted in 3 different locations, and that matters. You can mint by the small letter on the obverse, just above the date on Kennedy's neck. This coin was minted in Philadelphia, and they made a lot of them. We're talking 201, 596, 000 coins. That's over 200 million. Because of this massive mintage, finding one in your change is not uncommon. Value for an uncirculated 1974. P****. Now, if you have a coin that was saved from a bankroll, never touched, and still has its full mint luster, you're looking at a value between $1 and $3. High-grade examples certified by PCGS or NGC in MS66 or MS67 can fetch $10 to $25, but for a raw coin, a couple of bucks is the standard. Value for an uncirculated 1974. D****. Again. In brilliant uncirculated condition, the value is in the $1 to $3 range. It's a readily available coin for collectors looking to fill a book. Now, here's where things get a little more interesting. The San Francisco Mint in 1974 did not produce coins for circulation. All 1974 S-halves were struck as proof coins specifically for collectors. Proof coins are struck multiple times with specially polished dies on polished planchets. They have a mirror-like background, fields, and frosted, cameo-like design devices. They are sold directly to collectors in sets. The mintage was still high for a proof 2, 612, 568 sets. Because they were saved by collectors, they are still very easy to find today. Value for a 1974 S-proof ***. A standard proof coin in its original government packaging is worth about $4 to $6. If it's been taken out and has some haze or fingerprints, maybe $3. The real premium comes with the cameo or deep cameo designation, where the contrast between the fields and the design is stark and dramatic. A beautiful deep cameo proof can be worth $15 to $30 or more. Okay, we've covered the regular issues. Now, let's get to the good stuff. The reason you should scrutinize every single 1974 D half-dollar you find. I'm talking about the legendary 1974 D double die obverse doubled. That imparts the design onto a working die, impresses the design onto the die more than once, but is slightly out of alignment between impressions. This creates a distinct, repeating, shadow, or doubling effect on every coin struck from that defective die. This is not machine doubling, which is flat and shelf-like. This is true, rounded, dramatic doubling. If you think you have one, compare it side by side online with known examples. It should be obvious. But wait, there's more. While the double die is the star, there are other errors to look for. The 1974 no S proof. Remember how all the S mint marks were proofs? Well, a very small number of proof coins were struck without the S mint mark. These are incredibly rare and are considered some of the most valuable modern errors. How did this happen? It's believed that a proof die that was intended for a Philadelphia business strike coin was accidentally sent to San Francisco and used. A genuine 1974 no S proof Kennedy half is a six-figure coin. One sold at auction for over $120,000. If you think you have one, it must be certified by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC, as fakes exist. Look for dramatic die cracks, raised, jagged lines on the coin's surface. A cud is a more severe error where a chunk of the die breaks off, leaving a blob of metal on the coin's rim and a corresponding flat area on the design. A significant cud can add a $10 to $50 premium, sometimes more depending on the size and location. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly centered when the die strike it. The value depends on the percentage off-center and if the date is still visible. A 10% off-center might be worth $20 to $40, while a 50% off-center with the date visible could be worth $100 or more. Light wear on the highest points, hair, knee, but most details are sharp. Minor numismatic value, maybe $1 to $2. No wear, but may have bag marks, scratches, or weak luster. Value, $1 to $5. Attractive luster, minimal marks. The Kennedy for a presidential medal in 1961. Kennedy had approved the medal himself, reportedly with the comment, "I like it. It looks like me." Roberts adapted this existing, approved profile for the coin. It features a left-facing portrait of Kennedy with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. Frank Gasparo also turned to a previous design, the presidential seal he had created for the reverse of the Kennedy inaugural medal. He simplified this heraldic eagle design for the coin, placing a shield on its chest and having it grasp an olive branch for peace and a bundle of arrows for strength. The inscriptions are United States of America, E pluribus unum, and $50. The first Kennedy $50 were officially released to the public in March 1964. The public response was overwhelming. They were an instant sensation. Lines formed at banks, and the coins were hoarded as sentimental keepsakes, not spent as currency. This created an immediate shortage. 1964 coinage ***. The original 1964 Kennedy halves were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, a continuation of the standard for dimes, quarters, and halves since the 19th century. The Coinage Act of 1965 ***. By the mid-1960s, the price of silver was rising to the point where the intrinsic metal value of silver coins was threatening to exceed their face value. To prevent mass melting and hoarding, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965. This law removed silver from most circulating coinage. The coins were minted with a clad composition, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to an inner core of pure copper. The total silver content was eliminated, except for a special subset. During these years, the San Francisco Mint struck 40% silver versions only for inclusion in special mint sets and proof sets sold to collectors. By 1971, the Mint ceased using any silver in circulation strike Kennedy halves. From 1971 to the present day, all circulation issue Kennedy $50 have been made of the same copper-nickel clad composition. This change also marks the return of the S Mint mark for San Francisco proof coins, which had been suspended from 1965 to 1967. From 1968 onward, all proof coins, including the 40% silver proofs from 1971 to 1976, were struck at the San Francisco Mint. From 1975 to 1976, the Kennedy $50 received a special reverse design to honor the United States bicentennial. The standard eagle was replaced by a dramatic image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, designed by Seth G. Huntington. All coins minted in these 2 years bear the dual date, 1776 to 1976. No Kennedy halves with the single date 1975 were released for circulation. Despite being minted in the billions over the decades, The Kennedy half-dollar largely disappeared from daily circulation by the 2000s. Several factors contributed to this one. Lack of use * vending machines and public transit systems were not designed for them. Point 2. Size and weight * they are bulky compared to other coins. Point 3. Public perception * many people continue to see them as special and hoarded them. Even the common clad versions. Point 4. The rise of the dollar coin * the repeated introductions of dollar coins, Susan B. Anthony, Sacagawea, presidential, competed for the large coin niche. Today, the Federal Reserve rarely orders new Kennedy halves for circulation. The vast majority of coins minted each year are the brilliant NFC, not intended for circulation. Versions struck for the annual coin set sold to collectors. It is a tangible, everyday object that serves as a pocket-sized monument to a president whose Camelot era continues to fascinate. Its composition change from 90% silver to clad metal tells the story of America moving away from the silver standard and the end of intrinsic value in its coinage. Its journey from a hoarded sensat, a circulating workhorse, and finally to a primarily collectible item, reflects the changing nature of money and collecting in the digital age. These coins never entered public circulation. They were struck at the mint and immediately set aside, typically in mint-sewn bags, rolls, or original sets. The key thing to remember: uncirculated does not mean perfect. It simply means it has no wear from being spent. It can still have marks, nicks, and contact marks from banging against other coins in a bag, but the sharpness of the design is intact. These are small nicks and scratches a coin gets from being jostled against other coins in a mint bag. All uncirculated coins have them. The number and severity determine the grade. This is the way light reflects off the coin's surface. It's a result of the metal flowing into the dies during the striking process. Original mint luster is highly prized. It can be brilliant, satiny, or frosty. A coin that has been cleaned or polished will have its luster destroyed, which dramatically reduces its value and appeal. Understanding condition is the most critical skill you can develop as a coin collector. It teaches you to really look at a coin, to examine its surfaces, to appreciate its luster, and to understand its story. So, the next time you find a coin, don't just look at the date. Take a moment. Look at Kennedy's hair. Check the eagle's feathers. See if it has that original cartwheel luster. You might just discover that what you thought was a common piece of change is a hidden gem in fantastic condition. Today, we're tackling a question I get asked more than almost any other. What's the deal with the 1982 Canadian penny? This little guy. It's in nearly every jar of old coins in Canada. It's the last of the large cents, the end of an era. But is it valuable? Is it rare? The answer is complicated. Strap in, because the story of the 1982 cent is a numismatic roller coaster with a major plot twist, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own collection. To understand the 1982 penny, we have to set the stage. For decades, the Canadian penny was a large, bronze coin. But by the early 1980s, the cost of copper was rising. Minting a penny was starting to cost more than 1 cent. So, the Royal Canadian Mint decided to make a change. Their solution? Shrink it. They planned to introduce a new, smaller, copper-plated zinc penny in 1982. But here's where the chaos begins. The Mint didn't just switch over on January 1st. They had to use up the old, large bronze planchets. Those are the blank metal discs that they already had in stock. This led to the creation of two distinct types of 1982 pennies, the large date and the small date. And one of them is significantly more valuable than the other. The large date variety features, as the name suggests, a larger, bolder font for the 1982. The one is particularly telling. It has a flat, or serif, base. This variety was struck on the traditional bronze planchets. It's the common one. Millions and millions were made. If you find a 1982 penny, there's a 99% chance it's this one. The small date variety has a much smaller, more refined font. Look at that one. It has a slanted, or hooked, base. This variety was primarily struck on the new, smaller zinc planchets, but also on a very limited number of the old bronze ones. The small date coins, especially those struck on the bronze planchets, were only produced for a very short time to produce. This new, smaller version was initially struck in bronze, 95% copper, for percent tin, 1% zinc. World War II precipitated the next great change. Copper was a critical war material needed for shell casings and wiring. To conserve copper, the composition of the penny was changed in 1942 to tombac, a brass alloy, 88% copper, 12% zinc, giving it a distinct yellowish gold appearance. This one-year-only composition makes the 1942 tombac penny a key item for collectors. Notably, some 1942 tombac cents were struck with a blunted 7 in the date, another valuable variety. Crucially, a very small number of small date coins were struck on the old bronze planchets before the switch to zinc was complete. This created the 1982 small date bronze penny, one of the great rarities of modern Canadian coinage. In mint condition, it can be worth thousands of dollars, turning every 1982 penny into a potential treasure hunt. The penny also saw a design renaissance during this era, with the iconic wheat ears reverse, officially known as the two maple leaves, being replaced in 1965 by the rock dove design by G. E. Kruger Gray, and then by the maple twig design by D. J. C. Robertson in 1982, which lasted until the penny's demise. The late 1990s saw the final composition change. In 1997, the mint began plating the zinc core with pure copper instead of bronze, giving the penny a lighter, more orange color. The end, however, was inevitable. For years, the penny had cost more than 1 cent to produce. It had also lost its utility in everyday commerce. Its purchasing power had dwindled to the point where it was largely ignored by consumers and businesses alike. The story of the 1-cent coin, or penny, is a narrative that spans millennia, reflecting the economic, technological, and cultural shifts of human civilization. It is a tale of a coin that once held significant purchasing power, spurred public debate, and ultimately fell victim to the very progress it helped to facilitate. The Indian head cent, 1859 to 1909 ***, replacing the flying eagle in 1859, the Indian head cent became one of America's most beloved coins. The design, by James B. Longacre, featured a female figure wearing a Native American headdress, often mistakenly called Indian head, on the obverse and a wreath on the reverse. In 1864, to save costs during the Civil War, the composition was changed to bronze, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, and the weight was reduced in 1909. To mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, President Theodore Roosevelt commissioned sculptor Victor D. Brenner to design a new cent. This was a revolutionary move, as it was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person. The wheat ears reverse, 1909 to 1958 ***, the original Lincoln cent, known as the wheat penny, featured 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. It was an instant classic and remained in circulation for 50 years. The wartime steel cent, 1943 ***, World War II, created a critical copper shortage. In 1943, the mint struck cents on zinc-coated steel planchets. These silver-looking coins are unique in the series and are highly collectible. A few 1943 copper cents were struck by error and are among the most famous and valuable coin errors in the world. The Lincoln Memorial Reverse, 1959 to 2008 ***, in 1959, for the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse was changed to Frank Gasparo's design of the Lincoln Memorial. This design also contained a hidden element, a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, visible only under high magnification. The composition battle ***, the rising price of copper, led to another change in 1982. The coin's composition was switched from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc core, 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper, which remains the composition today.